Hey, what's going on, y'all? This your man Pristine back with another video. I introduced to you the new iPad Pro 10.5 inch variant. Yes, I did say 10.5 inch. This is a new size. Last year's models, we had the 12.9 inch, and then later on, Apple brought out a 9.7 inch. The reasoning behind the 10.5 inch, so I've been told, is because with the 12.9 inch iPad Pro, you had a lot of people that complained to Apple about it was too big, it was too cumbersome, it was too inconvenient to carry around, it was too heavy. Okay, so then later on in the year, toward the latter part of 2016, they released an iPad Pro 9.7 inch. Okay, which, it did really well. But then, people that had gotten exposed to the bigger screen, then you just had folks that were just like, oh, well, this is too small, and how come the screen can't be a little bigger? This is supposed to be the iPad Pro. Why is it the same size as all the other 9.7 inch tablets? So Apple, they came together and they said, okay, let's put together another size that is kind of in between the 12.9 and the 9.7 inch. Okay. And this is what was conceived. So we now have an iPad Pro 10.5 inch version. All right. Now, this thing is an absolute monster. Okay. I was down at my local Best Buy. I was playing around with this thing. And I mean, I got to tell you, using this thing is, I had to get it. After I put hands on it, laid eyes on it, I had to pick it up, and it has been a joy to use. I've been using it for a good 3-4 days now, I'm loving this thing. And it's interesting because I'm mostly an Android guy, but I have to say, when it comes to tablets, there is nothing, and I mean nothing, that is coming close to this iPad right here. Okay, now, before we start digging into this thing, let me give you guys a more broadened understanding of what this thing is possessing and some of the the upgraded features over last year's model. Okay, now of course, very obvious, we got the difference in the size. We've got the 10.5 inch variant. Okay, we've got a Retina display with we've got the Retina display with what Apple is calling ProMotion technology. Okay, what that is what they're calling the most advanced Retina display there is on the planet. So what ProMotion technology is it's basically technology built within the screen that really just makes the usability factor just so much more fluid and responsive. Now, the emphasis is on the fact that this display has 120 hertz refresh rate. 120 hertz refresh rate. So what that means to you is when you're using this thing, just immediately as you're scrolling back and forth through apps, you're just going to see fluidity that you didn't see on any other iPad before. Okay, it has a 1.8% reflectivity technology, which means that now when you're holding up your iPad and there's light outside, whether it be from the sun or if you're in a building and there's lights that are reflecting onto your screen, your vision isn't going to be obscured as much as it was before on previous models. And I tested this. The gentleman, the Apple representative, had me hold up this iPad in lighting, and he had me hold up the 9.7 inch iPad Pro from last year in the same lighting. And the lighting, the light reflecting was much less on this screen than it was on the 9.7 iPad Pro from 2016. So there's a technology that's built in to where it just, it reflects lighting differently to where it doesn't obscure your vision, as much as it once did. That's a cool little feature. Now, again, back to the ProMotion technology and this 120 hertz refresh rate. you're going to notice a noticeable difference when scrolling apps, opening apps. I mean, things are just so much more responsive and fluid and faster. I mean, opening apps, scrolling, I mean, just, everything. I mean, just multitasking, everything just looks amazing, and it does it very, very, very snappy. Now, another thing behind that too is the fact that this thing is rocking Apple's latest processing chip, which is the A10 Fusion chip with 64-bit architecture, which this thing is just a beast. This thing, I saw this thing side by side with laptops and 2-in-1s that had like i5 and Core i7 processors in it, and this thing was hanging right there with them, holding its own, if not slightly outperforming these things as far as how things looked when you were scrolling on the touch screen, as far as opening applications, how snappy it would open applications, and it's just kind of the same thing, just like, the Snapdragon 821 versus the Snapdragon 835. I mean, you're talking about a matter of seconds as far as differences as to how, fast apps and things open up. But still, you can't deny the fact that, those are full-on computers. Those are full-on laptops. This is a tablet. Now, Apple is basically promoting this Pro to be, the tablet that can for sure replace your laptop. And personally, what I've got to say to that is it's just a matter of what you do with your tablet. You know what I mean? If you are just a basic web browser, messaging, emailing, social media, browsing, watching Netflix, watching Hulu, streaming YouTube videos, streaming music on Spotify. I mean, what doesn't do that nowadays? You don't need a full-on laptop to do that type of thing. Okay, this will definitely do the job for that easily, in probably the most snappiest fashion that you've ever seen on any tablet. Okay, but this thing is so powerful to where a lot of the hardcore, things that you can do as far as like gaming, business related stuff, spreadsheets, all that kind of thing. I mean, this is a tablet where, we're going to take the BlackBerry, little saying, this tablet is a tablet to just straight get shit done, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Now, do I think personally that this can replace a laptop? Again, like I said, it's a matter of how you use your computer. But as far as like overall like productivity and things of that nature, this comes very close. But again, when you're talking about Windows 10, again, you're talking about a tablet here that does a whole lot. Don't get me wrong. This thing is a beast. It does a whole lot. But you're still restricted within the Apple iOS ecosystem. You know what I mean? When comparing it to something like Windows 10, which is just a full blown, operating system that allows you to download whatever program you want. You can't do that here on the iPad Pro. Now, there's hundreds of thousands of apps and things that you can find that may be comparable to, the programs and things that you can put, on your full-on Windows PC. But it's not quite there yet, But again, I mean, with this, you get the tablet, you get the keyboard, go ahead and pick up that Apple Pencil, whether you want to use it for writing or doodling, drawing, or just use it as a stylus, whatever, because, that ProMotion technology also, you also notice a significant difference in the way that the Apple Pencil responds, or how the screen responds when you tap the screen with the Apple Pencil. You know what I mean? So, there's upgrades with this thing all around, but there is no denying that just when you first look at this screen and you swipe your finger across it and you do the same thing with one of the older iPads, trust me, you are going to notice a noticeable difference. Now, that may not be a big deal to you. And I'm not saying that you guys have to, if you're, shopping for an iPad, that this is the one that you ought to get, because there's several different models. And now that these are out, some of the other models are on sale. You can, get the iPad Pros, whether it be the 12.9 inch or the 9.7 inch of 2016 for some good deals right now. And then you've got the other iPad that just recently came out. That's a 9.7 inch and it's just called the new iPad. That's $329.99. You know what I mean? Now, the thing that I like about this one is, you know, you've got the best screen. You've got the ProMotion technology. You've got the 120 hertz refresh rate. You know, so I mean, as far as overall performance, you've got the most powerful iPad that there is on the planet. All right, and then couple that with the fact that it's still rocking 10 hours of battery life. That's been proven. Okay, they're Apple, they're not joking around. I mean, I've tested this thing. I've had it charged at 100% and I let it drain all the way down to 0. And I mean, they are not kidding when they say 10 hours of battery life. The battery life on this iPad is stupid. Now obviously, things that, depending on how you use it, I mean, that can, certain things can drain the battery a little faster, but this thing still has some serious staying power, even for the heaviest of users. Okay. Now, so as far as like overall computing speeds, this thing is 30% faster than last year's iteration of the iPad. Now, as far as graphical capability, it's 40% faster, according to what the sources show that I've read about this particular tablet. So again, we've got the 10.5 inch, which is 20% larger than the 9.7 inch. We've got a P3 color gamut for much more vibrant colors, your reds, your greens, your whites, your blacks. I mean, all those things are just going to look marvelous on this particular iPad. And I'm saying these things they're noticeable. I mean, sometimes these things come out and the difference is they're just not that noticeable, but a lot of people still cop them because, they know that it's the new thing and they want the latest and greatest, like myself, I'm guilty of that. But I mean, these are some extremely noticeable differences that are in this iPad compared to last year's version. Now I got my Target case on this thing, or Targus case, which by the way, this is a solid case. I picked this up at Best Buy as well. You can pick this up. It was $49.99. They got it in black and like this purplish color. If you're into that color, hey, do your thing. You know me, I'm all black everything. No racist. Now, this thing is 6.1 millimeters thin. What does that mean? That means that in your hands, you've got this thing that weighs literally 1 pound. The 10.5 inch iPad Pro weighs 1 pound. You've got a pound's worth of pure, uncut, unadulterated power right in the palm of your hands. I mean, that's crazy. Now, for all of you that decide to pick up, the 12.9 inch, that's 6.9 millimeters. That's 1.5 pounds. That's a big ass screen weighing only 1.5 pounds. That's kind of crazy. You know what I mean? So, these things, they're very light. They're thin, they're portable, they're made with premium materials. Again, this is Apple. They're all their phones, their tablets, they're always made with the most premium materials. And you know what it is. Again, I got the case on here, but you've got that hard aluminum or metal. This is actually the space gray colors, and the colors that you can get this thing in, you can get it in space gray, gold, rose gold, and silver. So that shouldn't be a surprise to any of you guys, because if you guys rock with Apple, you know that pretty much everything that they do, those are the same color schemes, with the exception of, the recent release of the red iPhone 7 and 7 Pluses. Now that'll be dope if they came out with a red iPad Pro. That I may have to jump on that, seeing that red is my favorite color. But yeah. Now, another thing that I really like and appreciate about this particular iPad is the cameras. These are the best cameras that you're going to find on any tablet, anywhere. I don't care what the tablet is. Okay, now on the rear, We've got a 12 megapixel sensor. The selfie cam right here is a 7 megapixel FaceTime camera. Okay, these are the same cameras that are on the iPhone 7. The same cameras. And we all know that the iPhone 7's camera, front and back, are definitely in the top 5 as far as, what phone has the dopest camera. So those same cameras that are on the iPhone 7 have been implemented here on the iPad Pro. And the still shot images, the selfies, the video recording is awesome. You can record with up to 4K with the rear camera, with the 7 megapixel selfie camera. It's full HD 1080p, I believe, at 30 frames per second. But that's not a bad thing. I hear people say that and they make it sound like it's a bad thing. Oh, sucks it doesn't have 4K. Man, either I'm blind or I just couldn't. There's certain things that I looked at that was in full 1080p, and other things that I looked at that were in 4K. And I know certain things, it's a clear difference. But like on a phone, or like take for instance like the new Sony, the Sony Xperia XZ Premium. It's got a 4K display. Okay, it's got a 4K display. And then I held up the Huawei Mate 9 next to it, which has a full 1080p display. Put them both at max brightness. I couldn't tell the difference. Now, I don't know if it's just because, we're looking at these much smaller screens than a TV. Now, I noticed for a fact, like if I'm looking at like a 65-inch TV and I'm looking at 4K on the right side, and then I got full 1080p HD on the left side, they both are going to look good. But on that big ass screen, it's a little bit of a noticeable difference. But on these little screens, on these phones and tablets, but yeah, so anyway, not to get too far off subject, but you can record in 4K with the rear camera. The FaceTime camera is, you can record 1080p, 30 frames per second, if I remember correctly. Okay, don't quote me on that. Sometimes you guys got to do your own homework. I understand that I'm the reviewer, but sometimes I can get it twisted too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an expert with this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot, but I'm not an expert. All right. So now I'm just going to scroll through some apps, open up some applications just to kind of give you guys an idea how snappy this thing runs. And then I'm going to go ahead and, take a quick break, go outside. Beautiful day here in Seattle. I'm going to go show you guys what this camera's about. You know what I'm saying? Because this camera on this iPad ain't no punk, man. You know what I'm saying? So again, scrolling through, I don't have very many apps. I keep a lot of folders and stuff. But let's go to the Bible app. Okay, boom. Oh, am I not connected? Oh, hold on. Let me get connected real quick. Okay. So you guys already know, man. You got your tray. You swipe from the bottom, and it brings up all your airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, night mode, ringer on or off, AirPlay mirroring, AirDrop receiving off, night shift, brightness right there, camera, timer, and then you scroll to the right, or to the left, and this is where you can control all your music and stuff. So you don't necessarily have to go in whatever app that you're doing just to kind of toggle those things. To get rid of it, you just scroll down. Now here's your notification shade. You scroll down from the top, and this brings you to all your notifications. And so, if you want to, get rid of those things, let's see, Andre Iguodala to meet with Spurs, right at start of free agency. Wow, Golden State better pay that boy. But yeah, now, you scroll to the left, view or clear. I just peeped that. I don't need that. So we'll just go ahead and clear that. Okay. And so this is where you can find all your notifications. Okay. Now, if I scroll to the right, this is where, some other information is. We've got tips, calendar, Apple Music, Siri app suggestions, and news. And so this is, what keeps me up on the latest news. New York City hospital shooting. Wow, that is unfortunate. See, this is why I say at the end of my videos, this is why I always say, y'all need to get spiritually fit. If you're not already, stop playing thinking that you got another day to get right with God, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, he's waiting on us. He's always willing to start over whenever we are, if we're blessed to still have breath in our lungs, But New York City hospital shooting. Now tell me, these people are in the hospital trying to recover from whatever they're in the hospital for. I'm sure they didn't wake up that morning, whoever, if there were any casualties in this situation, I'm sure they didn't wake up that morning knowing that they were going to get shot and killed in the hospital while they're trying to recover. There's sick shit like going on like this everywhere in the world, man. And it can happen anywhere. This is unfortunate. Man, all praise and glory to the people, the victims and their families, man. I hate seeing stuff like that. But yeah, so this is where a lot of your news and stuff is kept, and you can customize these things, right? So, there's an edit button right here. You click on edit and you basically can pick and choose whatever you want, and they're widgets. These are Apple's versions of widgets. All right. My bad. I'm so used to Android devices. I haven't had an Apple product in a minute. But yeah, so this is where you can customize all those things so that when you're done, then everything that you want to have in this area, that's what it'll be. Okay. Now let's go to the Bible. Boom. Done. Open that. Keybank. Boom. Done. Open that. PayPal. Boom. Done. All right. Spotify. Pandora. All right. SoundHound. Just punking these apps, right? Apple Music, iTunes. All right. I haven't set all that up yet, but I will. iTunes Store. All right. GarageBand. What the hell? We'll just open it up real quick. This app is dope. If you're a music fan, I mean, you'd love this app. All right. Boom. Now what we take it social media. Facebook. Twitter. All right. IG. That gram. I'll take it to the gram. All right. Yeah. All right. Best Buy. Amazon. eBay. Car Gurus. I'm a huge car nut, so I'll stay on Car Gurus looking up stuff. And what else? What else is over there? Oh, this is the Best Buy, actually, the desktop site. But yeah, man, you guys get the idea. Score. I mean, this thing is it's so fluid and responsive. All right. Now, double click on the home button. Okay, this is like your recents button on an Android device. You double click on the home button and it just takes you to everything that you had opened up. Okay. Now, part of what that refresh rate does for this. Now, say on some of the previous models of the iPads, you may have a lot of stuff open, right? So you guys got a lot of stuff opened up. And I'm the type of guy to where I'm always closing things out when I'm done with them. I never leave stuff open, right? Now, unless, if I'm watching something and I can't finish watching it at that point, then I'll leave it open and then I'll come back to it later on. But then as soon as I'm done with it, I'll close it out. A lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just leave their apps open, so say a couple days go by, you were watching a video and so, you're scrolling through and you see that same video that you were watching 2 days ago and you realized, oh man, I didn't finish watching that video. You know what I'm saying? You know what you do? You just tap on it and boom. There it is. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to it doesn't have to refresh the page to open it up. I mean, it's still going to be there as if it was something that you were just watching. So that's another feature that refresh rate does as well. You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy. And so again, if you want to get rid of all these things, you just swipe up. As I'm doing here. Boom. Done. All right. So just want to give you guys a quick idea of just how fast and snappy and fluid that this thing is. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous, but I'm gonna go ahead and step aside real quick. We gonna mess with this camera real quick. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna holler back at y'all in a minute. All right. What's up, y'all? This your man Pristine. All right, so I told you I was gonna hit you guys with a real quick video. Now this is with the 7 megapixel FaceTime camera on the new iPad Pro 10.5 inch. Okay, so again, this is a 7 megapixel shooter, which is the same that's on the iPads, on the iPhone 7. And again, we do have optical image stabilization, you know, so I am walking, I'm still on the beach here. And so you can see that things are nice and shaky. Actually, here, let me turn it this way. There we go. Okay. So I got it in horizontal view right now. So now you guys got a better idea. Okay. People in the background fishing. Beautiful scenery down here on Redondo Beach. You know, the sun is setting. You know, a lot of people down here just chilling, watching the sunset, chilling on their balconies. Another beautiful day here in sunny Seattle. You know, we really try to soak it up when we get sunshine. I know it's summertime, but we do get a lot of rain up here. So between June and August is when it really heats up in Seattle, you know. So yeah, this is good. 7 megapixel FaceTime camera, same one that you can find on the iPhone 7. This is beautiful. You know, again, you know, Apple, they're really doing some things with implementing this camera technology on the tablet. You're not gonna find a better camera on any tablet right now. If you are, or if you have, let me know in the comments what it is so I can go peep it out, you know? So again, optical image stabilization, as you guys can see. You know, you can see I am walking by how things are moving further away from me in the background. I'm headed back to the Pristine mobile so I can wrap this video up and get up out of here. Let me know what you guys think of the FaceTime camera on the iPad Pro 10.5. I'll holler at y'all later. Thank you. What's going on, y'all? This your man Pristine. Back with a quick video, getting some video samples from the iPad Pro 10.5 variant. Now, I told you guys that the camera on this tablet is an absolute beast. Now, again, we're talking about the same cameras that are on the iPhone 7. Okay, now the rear camera, which is what I'm recording with right now, we've got a 12 megapixel camera that's on the rear, and then the FaceTime selfie camera is the 7 megapixel camera. And, you know, as far as, you know, video quality and overall still shot quality on a tablet, it's not going to get much better than this. And we already know that the iPhone's camera is definitely in the top 5 best smartphone cameras in the smartphone game right now. And Apple implemented that on this iPad Pro, on this one and the new 12.9 inch version. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, this is just absolutely gorgeous. Okay, you know, we've got the motorcycle roll by, got some sunlight there. A lot of people are down here on Redondo Beach just watching the sunset. Beautiful scenery down here. A lot of families down here just chilling. People riding. As I'm moving about, you can see that there is very little shakiness. We do have optical image stabilization on the camera on this tablet. And that goes for front and back. So we've got optical image stabilization on the rear camera here and the front-facing camera. So I'll swing it around to the FaceTime camera and do a video with that as well, so you can see just how well it is, you know, while you're recording and moving around at the same time. I mean, no shakiness at all whatsoever. Okay, you can record. You can do 4K recording on this camera, which is another aspect of this camera that you will not find on any other camera that's on a tablet. I mean, so, you know, I really think that Apple is really revolutionizing the game as far as implementing this camera technology on a tablet, because there's really nothing else that can compete with it. You know, so a lot of the competition, they're really going to have to step their game up, you know, with their tablets. I mean, it may be a nice tablet, but I mean, camera quality ain't like this. You know what? Let me take that back. I know that Samsung, they got the Galaxy Tab S3. Now, I haven't got my hands on, actually I have. I've played with it in Best Buy for a quick second. I tested the camera, but it was very brief, so I can't say whether that camera is or is not better than this. Now, I know the camera on that one is a 13 megapixel. This is a 12 megapixel here on the iPad Pro 10.5 and also the iPad Pro 12.9. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about the overall video quality from the new iPad Pro 10.5. Peace. All right, y'all. So we back in. Hope you guys enjoyed the still shots and the video footage that I just captured, from the rear and the FaceTime camera on the iPad Pro 10.5 inch here. Stunning photos and videos captured on a tablet. I've never seen anything like it, and I don't really think you're gonna, get much better than that right now at the moment. Now, I'm pretty sure that moving ahead, the competitors, they're going to see this and they're going to be like, wow, we need to step our camera game up, because it's just another element, that this particular, tablet is offering that, a lot of people aren't. Now, I know there's some question, I know that there is, Samsung's new tablet, the Galaxy Tab S3, which that camera has a 12 megapixel camera on it. So I haven't had that camera in hand, so I can't say that this camera is better than that one, because we all know that Samsung makes some of the best cameras, and I find it hard to believe that, Samsung would drop the ball on putting a nice camera on their latest tablet, which is basically, going up against this guy right here. Now, the Samsung came out about a month prior. Correction. I believe the Samsung, the Tab S3 has a 13 megapixel rear facing camera, and this one has a 12. So I would have to say that those, in my opinion, those have got to be the two top cameras. I can't imagine that this camera is just completely obliterating the camera that's on that Samsung Galaxy Tab S3. It might, though. It might. And so, overall, could I recommend this to anyone? Yes, I can. Like I said, I've been, messing with this thing for the past 3 or 4 days. I've been having a blast with it. I've got my LG tablet here. I've got a HP Spectre X2, which is basically just like it's another version of the Surface Pro 4. So I've got all the operating systems when it comes to computing. I've got an Android tablet, got the iPad Pro here. I got my Windows 10 device. Now I've had the Android tablet and the Windows 10 device for a while. So this is the new toy. So of course, I'm playing with this more so than I am with those others. But I think that, the fact is, this thing, just the way that it performs and the way that it looks as it's performing. Right now for me, it's kind of hard to go to the other platforms that I've got. You know what I mean? So, I can definitely give the iPad Pro here a thumbs up. There is way more things right with this thing than there is anything wrong, in my personal opinion. I love the fact that Apple decided to make, somewhat of an in-between as far as the sizes. You know what I mean? You still do have, the 12.9 inch if you want to go bigger, but if you want to go smaller, then, you've got the 10.5 inch. And if you want to go smaller than 10.5, then you can always go down to the 9.7 inch iPad Pro as well. That also, it's a monster of a tablet. It just doesn't have the ProMotion technology. It doesn't have the cameras that this has on it, but you're still going to get a really good experience. But if you want the top dog, the cream of the crop, as far as an iPad right here, right now, you want to get this iPad 10.5 inch, or you want to get the iPad 12.9 inch. Period. In my personal opinion, you're not going to find, a smoother experience. That 120 hertz refresh rate, that is a major deal. That is a big deal in the way things function. So smooth, so fast, so fluid. No hiccups, no lag whatsoever. Now, charging the battery. Now, earlier today, I was at 0%. Okay, and I put it on the charger, and it says that there is a fast charging technology, even though it's a lightning port. So they don't call it fast charging, but it does have fast charge capability. This thing charged from 0 to 100 in a little over an hour. I'd say maybe an hour or 10 minutes. So that's not bad. You know what I mean? An hour and 10 minutes, maybe an hour, 10, 15 minutes to charge for 10 hours of battery life. That's pretty remarkable. All right. Now, before I close this video out, I can't close the video out with talking about one of the most important specs. And that is obviously the price. The price. All right. Now, as we all know, as I've mentioned in several other videos, if you want to play, you got to pay. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't say you've got to pay for that. I said you got to pay for that. You see what I'm saying? Now, the 10.5 version of this iPad Pro, this is a 64 gig. Okay? The starting price for this one is $649.99 for the 64 gig. Okay? Now, there's a 256 gig that is $749.99. All right? Then there's a 512 gig that is $949.99. All right? So, $649 for the 64 gig, $749 for the 256 gig, $949 for the 512 gig. All right. Now, again, these are Apple devices. I mean, so these prices, they should not surprise you. They really shouldn't. Okay. Now, let me read off the prices for the 12.9 inch. The prices that I just named off, those are for the 10.5 inch, which is what this is right here. Okay. Now, the 12.9 inch iPad Pro for 64 gigs, $799. All right. For 256 gigs, $899. For 512 gigs, $1,099. Okay. So again, for the 12.9 inch iPad Pro, 64 gigs, $799, 256 gigs, $899, and 512 gigs, man, a G99. You know what I'm saying? A G99. You know, a rack 99. You know what I'm saying? $1,099 for the 512 gig. Hey, like I said, man, you got to pay to play. You know what I'm saying? You already know Apple be charging. They be straight price gouging. And they get it. They get it. So I can't even be mad at them. You know what I'm saying? Because they got my $649. Y'all know what I can do with $649? You know what I'm saying? But they got my $649. Now, me personally, I mean, I feel like this tablet is well worth every penny of it. You know, because although I've got other operating systems, other platforms that do pretty much the same things, the fact that this one does those things just way better, much faster, much more fluid, no hiccups. And I can use this as a one-stop shop device. You know what I mean? I mean, I can use it for web browsing. You know, the cameras are good enough now to where, you know, with doing these videos, I can make videos with this camera, you know, front and back, just with this tablet alone. So, you know, I can do web browsing. I can, you know, stream. I can make videos. I can edit. I can do everything all from this device. I mean, this thing has the power to do literally everything that I need it to do. that I needed to do. Okay. So again, you guys wrap your heads around those prices that I just named, because if you want one of these, yeah, you know what I'm saying, it's I mean, I don't know what your financial circumstances are, you know what I'm saying, but depending on who you are and what your financial status is, I mean, it could break the bank. And I wouldn't recommend, if that's your last $649, you know what I'm saying, that you go blow it on an iPad, unless it's just really that important to you. You know what I'm saying? Don't spend your rent money. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't sleep in this iPad. You know what I'm saying? Man, properly plan for these things, man, because these things are investments, man. You know what I'm saying? To me, these are big ticket purchases. I'm not balling by any stretch of the imagination. So paying $649 for a tablet, I mean, I walked away from it a couple of times. It took like 2 or 3 trips to Best Buy to play with this thing, and another 2 trips to the Apple Store to get some more information before I was just like, you know what? All right, man, just let me get that. But you got to pay to play. So I can sit here and recommend it all day, but if you ain't got the finances to cop it, then that just is what it is. But of course, I just want to give you guys all the bits of information that I can, so that moving forward, if one of these tablets is something that you guys are considering, then you've got pretty much all the details that you need, going forward with your purchase. But as I always recommend, you guys of course do your own homework. I mean, I don't know how you guys use your tablets. But I do like the fact that with these tablets, there's a wide variation. You don't necessarily have to have the latest and the greatest, and there are other, last year's models, the year before that, you still got the iPad Air 2, those are still really good tablets as well. And you can get those for as little as $299, $399 right now. And let's not even forget we can't forget about the iPad minis. Those exist. You got the iPad mini 4, which is a little mini monster. That's like $299 right now. That's not bad at all. So yeah, that's the iPad Pro, y'all. 2017 edition, 10.5 version, 64 gigs of onboard storage, $649.99, A10 Fusion chip, 64-bit architecture, Pro Motion technology, brighter screen, 600 nits. This thing gets extremely bright, and as you can see, my brightness is at halfway. It does not need to be any brighter than what it is right now. But yeah, 600 nits is the full, at max brightness. Again, I forgot to mention, we do now the audio. Now the audio in this tablet is superb. Why? Because again, we've got the 4 speakers. Okay, we've got 2 speakers here and another 2 right here on the bottom. So it doesn't matter the orientation in which you're holding the tablet. If you're holding it horizontally like this, then you're going to get the sound coming out this way. If you turn the tablet vertically, it's like the tablet has technology in it to know the direction in which is being held, and so it transmits the sound out. The sound output is transmitted based on the direction in which you're holding the tablet. You know what I mean? So you got 2 speakers on each side, and they produce some serious sound quality. I mean, the speakers on this thing sound exceptional. They sound very, very good, extremely good. So same thing that were on the iPad Pros from last year, but these cameras, they've been upgraded a little bit. They sound a little bit better than last year's variations of the iPad Pros. So yeah, just another little tidbit of information, and that's all I got, y'all. You know what I mean? So if you guys are considering getting an iPad Pro, whether it be the 10.5 inch or the 12.9 inch, let me know down in the comments. If you've already got one, let me know what your experience is with it. Do you like it? Is it just, is it okay? Do you hate it? If so, what are your reasons? If you love it, what do you love about it? I always love to talk tech, So if you like this video, if you found it informative in any way, shape, or form, go ahead and hit that like and that thumbs up button. Anybody that you may know that's in the market for one of these, go ahead and share the video. To all of my subscribers, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Please continue to do so. Stay patient with me. I've got much more content coming. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so. for much more content like this, and to also expose yourself to a vast amount of videos that I've already done similar to this one. All right. So until the next video, y'all, you guys already know, please stay safe, stay blessed, get right with God. Please get spiritually fit, and definitely in every aspect of your lives, stay pristine. I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is the iPad Pro 10.5 variant. We out.